In this short demonstration, we're going to preview how CommuteIQ works and highlight some of the use cases. We have imported sample employee data with 3 different shift patterns. CommuteIQ has analysed the viable commute options available to each of these employees. This data is then shown in 2 different ways within CommuteIQ. One is a visual dashboard, and the other is a set of interactive maps. We're going to start off by looking at the dashboard. First up is the summary section. This panel shows cumulative data for your employees. The data shown in this section is broken down in more detail further down the dashboard. In this example, the average one-way commute distance is 21.4 miles. If every one of the employees commuted by single occupancy vehicle, it would amount to 242 tonnes of CO2e each year. Throughout the CommuteIQ interface, we provide information pop-ups that highlight what, if any, assumptions have been used to make our calculations. The bar charts show the number and percentage of employees that have viable walking, cycling, bus and train options, and the corresponding savings in CO2e if these employees transitioned from single occupancy vehicle to their place of work. In this example, there are 85 employees that can cycle to work. If they moved from a single occupancy vehicle, the carbon savings would only be 5.8 tonnes of CO2e. However, for the 44 employees that could take the train, they would save approximately 10 times more CO2e if they were to stop driving alone. In the next section of CommuteIQ, we're able to delve into the distribution of our employees by distance. The total one-way commute distance for all employees is 5,012 miles. Also shown are the mean, median, and mode average distances. With the distribution chart, you're able to visualize the commute distance of your employees with the corresponding emissions their commute would generate if they all travelled by single occupancy vehicle. With this sampled data, you can see there is uneven distribution of emissions. Whilst the greatest concentration of employees is within 4 miles of the workplace, their single occupancy vehicle emissions is low compared to the groups of commuters that live further out. The data zoom functionality appears throughout CommuteIQ and allows you to zoom in and view a greater resolution on any sections of the graph. This gives you a clear visual representation of where modal shift will have the biggest impact in emissions. For example, with this data, by encouraging the employees that live 40 to 50 miles away to work from home more frequently, you will see a disproportionate drop in emissions compared to the same initiative with those that live within 4 miles of their workplace. Next, let's look at the public transport section. In making zero-carbon commuting strategy, it's crucial that you are basing your decisions on real-world viability. In the background, CommuteIQ has mapped each individual employee with their selected shift pattern to understand what public transport is available to them at the times they usually travel to work. Additionally, CommuteIQ incorporates the time taken to walk from their home to the bus stop or train station and the time spent waiting for the bus or train to arrive. When reporting on the data, we break it down by driving factors. This is the way of benchmarking the convenience of public transport against single occupancy driving. For example, if someone's direct car journey from home to work is 25 minutes, they might consider a driving factor of ×2, making their total journey, including walking and waiting for the bus, 50 minutes. However, they probably would not consider a ×3 journey of 75 minutes. It would be too inconvenient compared to driving alone. Here you can see 50% of employees have a public transport option with a ×3 driving factor. So whilst they can technically get to site by public transport, it's not likely to be viable in the real world. You can toggle from driving factor to duration. This changes the chart to be a visual representation of the distribution of public transport journeys by how long they take. When you change what is displayed in the chart, the data shown underneath updates. Here, we've zoomed in on those whose fastest public transport journey is between 20 and 60 minutes. As you can see, 69% of employees have a bus option within those parameters, and 30% have a train option. This further broken down by public transport operators, providing insight on the external transport partners you should engage with. In the next panel, we look at sustainable transport modes. Whilst not everyone has access to public transport, 100% of employees do have some sort of sustainable option. For example, 62% can car share. The active travel panel breaks down those that can walk and cycle, alongside the health benefits of doing so. It can be difficult convincing colleagues to active travel in the winter or when the weather is inclement. The Active Travel Alternatives chart provides valuable insights for days when walking or cycling isn't feasible. For example, of the 69 people who can walk to work, 62 of them could also car share, but only 4 could take public transport. The sunburst diagram allows you to break down these options further in a more visual way. For example, here we can click through those that can walk to work to see their alternatives, including segments for how many car share matches they have, all the way through to the specific public transport operators they could use. ACEL is the average commuter emissions level. This is your total emissions from commuting, divided by the number of employees. It provides a way of comparing your emissions, regardless of fluctuations in employee numbers. The ACEL Opportunity Panel presents the lowest possible emissions for your organisation if every employee chose the lowest viable CO2e option available to them, based upon existing transport provision. This assumes no changes to the frequency of commuting to the workplace. In this example, the lowest possible emissions this organisation could achieve, based on existing transport infrastructure, would be 416 kilograms CO2e per employee per year. By contrasting this ACEL opportunity score with your current ACEL, which we calculate from your latest travel survey, it highlights the real-world potential in emissions savings purely through modal shift. In the bottom corner of the dashboard, there is a toggle that will change the whole dashboard between tonnes and kilograms. The car share section highlights what proportion of your employees could share rides to work with colleagues. The data analyses all employees by looking at those that live within walking distance of one another. Employees with more matches are the most likely to be successful with car sharing, as they will have the greatest range of colleagues to share with. Mobilityways is the UK's leader in car sharing, with our platform LiftShare now enjoying its Silver Jubilee year. This chart within CommuteIQ highlights just how crucial car sharing is for filling the gaps in provision from public transport and active travel. The final panel on the CommuteIQ dashboard allows you to model how varying modal shift from single occupancy vehicle to sustainable travel impacts emissions. If we select car share and set it to 100%, this means that all of those that can car share do. That would lead to a reduction of 112 tonnes of CO2e every year compared to driving alone. If we pull this down to 70%, we see the savings would drop to 78 tonnes. This dashboard is the first part of CommuteIQ. Next, we're going to look at the CommuteIQ interactive maps. CommuteIQ maps use the same data that powers the dashboard. Each employee postcode is represented by a dot. In the sample data, we have loaded employees with 3 different start times. Currently, all start times are shown. However, we can go into the map filters and select the start times we want to see. If a start time is deselected, the corresponding dots become white. By clicking on any individual dot, more details are shown, including if there is a viable public transport option, which public transport operator that is with, and the number of car-sharing matches. There are a range of different visual layers that can be applied to the map. If we choose the active travel layer, we can see an orange parameter, displaying those that are within an active travel distance of sight, and a green parameter with those that can walk. The radius distance used can be amended, and the mapping is based on the real-world routes an employee would travel. Employees without active travel options are marked with a red dot. Employees who can walk are marked with a green dot. Employees who can cycle are marked with an orange dot. On the public transport layer, those with a green dot have under a 2 times driving factor, and those with an orange dot have public transport options that will take them longer. Those in white do not have a public transport option. This view helps you visually identify clusters of employees that are underserved by current public transport provision. We can also display the same data based upon duration of journey. Here you can see the employee dots are colour-coded depending on how long their best public transport journey would take. The maps are fully interactive and can be zoomed in and out so you can scrutinise specific regions in more detail. We can also apply a map layer which shows the specific transport operators. Again, you can customise what is displayed in the Map Filters panel, allowing you to focus on specific public transport operators. The Park and Ride layer shows the closest park and ride locations with colour coding. For example, the green park and ride is the best option for the green dots. Finally, the car sharing layer shows those employees that are able to car share. You are able to filter based upon employee start times and how many options are available to them. So that is the end of this preview demonstration of the new CommuteIQ. We're delighted to announce that we are upgrading existing Mobilityways scoping licenses to CommuteIQ over the course of 2024. Whether you're a consultant, large employer, or a transport operator, if you would like to find out more about how CommuteIQ could add value to your organisation, please do send us an email to team@mobilityways.com, and the most relevant member of the team will get in touch to arrange a meeting.